Ani Jayek, Mino Gishget. I hope you're having a wonderful day and welcome back to Indigenous Author Monday. And we are on Braiding Sweetgrass part 4. So we're getting there. Hopefully you all have your books by now and you can read along with me. I don't read all of it because I want you to buy the book, but there's also so much of it. I'd be here forever if I was reading it all. So I really hope you're buying this book. You can read along with us. Put in the comments what you're thinking or what you're feeling. Tell us, because everyone's experiences are different, right? And so I'd like to know your experience, and you know, it's part of that, you know, Native family, we all come together. So I hope you have your books. Okay, so before we get started, make sure you're in a good place, maybe even smudge before. Put both feet on the ground. Make sure you're ready. Okay, we are in, I think we're about page 24, The Gift of Strawberries. And again, you need to get this book so you can follow along. Okay. You could smell ripe strawberries before you saw them, the fragrance mingling with the smell of sun on damp ground. It was the smell of June, the last day of school, when we were set free and the strawberry moon, Ode Mine Gijes. I lie on my stomach in my favorite patches, watching the berries grow sweeter and bigger under the leaves. Each tiny wild berry was scarcely bigger than a raindrop, dimpled with seeds under the cap of leaves. From that vantage point, I could pick only the reddest of the red, leaving the pink ones for tomorrow. Even now, after more than 50 strawberry moons, finding a patch of wild strawberries still touches me with a sensation of surprise, a feeling of unworthiness, a gratitude for the generosity and kindness that comes with an unexpected gift, all wrapped up in red and green. Really? For me? Oh, you shouldn't have. After 50 years, they still raise the question of how to respond to their generosity. Sometimes it feels like a silly question with a very simple answer: eat them. But I know that someone else has wondered these same things. In our creation stories, the origin of strawberries is important. Sky Woman's beautiful daughter, whom she carried in her womb from Sky World, grew on the good green earth, loving and loved by all the other beings. But tragedy befell her when she died, giving birth to her twins, Flint and Sapling. Heartbroken, Sky Woman buried her beloved daughter in the earth. Her final gifts, our most revered plants, grew from her body. The strawberry arose from her heart. In Potawatomi, the strawberry is Ode Min, the heart berry. We recognize them as the leaders of the berries, the first to bear fruit. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen or experienced a wild strawberry, but they're much different than the strawberries you find in grocery stores. Welcome to my cat. He is having some codependent issues today, so welcome Zazu. Sometimes he is known as Zasshole, but his name is Zazu. Anyway, the strawberries you see in stores are very, very big. Wild strawberries are much smaller and they're not quite as sweet. They almost taste nutty. And also, for those that don't know, the green tops that are on your strawberries hold the most medicine. Don't throw those, don't throw those away. You need to eat those. Those have the most medicine in them. So don't cut them off and waste that medicine. I'm gonna go find him a home for a second. I'll be back. Okay, we'll see how long that lasts. Okay, I wanna read a little bit more. We are on page 26, and I'm gonna go on to 27. Okay. Wild strawberries fit the definition of gift, but grocery store berries do not. It's the relationship between producer and consumer that changes everything. As a gift thinker, I would be deeply offended if I saw wild strawberries in the grocery store. I would want to kidnap them all. They were not meant to be sold, only to be given. Hyde reminds us that in a gift economy, one's freely given gifts cannot be made into someone else's capital. I can see the headline now: woman arrested for shoplifting produce. Strawberry Liberation Front claims responsibility. This is the same reason we do not sell sweetgrass, because it is given to us. It should only be given to others. And I'm going to stop there. I believe this also includes sema, our tobacco, though that's used as a drug everywhere. But sema, tobacco, sage, our sweetgrass, and cedar should not be sold. My dear friend Wally Bear Mishigod is a ceremonial firekeeper for our people. He's very well known and uses a lot of sweetgrass on our behalf. There are folks who pick for him in a good way to keep him supplied. But even so, at big gatherings, sometimes he runs out. At powwows and fairs, you can see our people selling sweetgrass for 10 bucks a braid. When Wally really needs wingashk for ceremony, he may visit one of those booths among the stalls selling fry bread or hanks of beads. He introduces himself to the seller, explains his need, just as he would in a meadow, asking permission of the sweetgrass. He cannot pay for it. He literally can. It's part of the ceremony. He's not supposed to, he can't pay for it. Not because he doesn't have the money, but because it cannot be bought or sold and still retain its essence for ceremony. He expects sellers to graciously give him what he needs, but sometimes they don't. The guy at the booth thinks he's being shaken down by an elder. Hey, you can't get something for nothing, he says. But that is exactly the point. A gift is something for nothing. Except that certain obligations are attached. For the plant to be sacred, it cannot be sold. Reluctant entrepreneurs will get a teaching from Wally, but they'll never get his money. Sweetgrass belongs to Mother Earth. Sweetgrass pickers collect properly and respectfully. For their own use and the needs of their community, they return a gift to the earth and tend to the well-being of the wingashk. The braids are given as gifts to honor, to say thank you, to heal and strengthen. The sweetgrass is kept in motion. When Wally gives sweetgrass to the fire, it is a gift that is passed from hand to hand, growing richer as it is honored in every exchange. That is the fundamental nature of gifts. They move, and their value increases with their passage. The fields made a gift of berries to us, and we made a gift of them to our Father. The more something is shared, the greater its value becomes. This is hard to grasp for society steeped in notions of private property, where others are, by definition, excluded from sharing. Practices such as posting land against trespass, for example, are expected and accepted in a property economy, but are unacceptable in an economy where land is seen as a gift for all. That was pretty deep, wasn't it? I'd really like to know your perspective on that passage. You see, he's very codependent today. I think it might be the storm. Anyway, so I would encourage you to reread that again on your own, and then let's discuss what that means. Are you aware that we're not supposed to sell medicine? Do you understand why? We understand with tobacco, it's such, it's been so capitalized and monopolized that it's hard to keep that sacred anymore. And that's why I grow my own, oh, that little silly cat. I grow my own sema, the tobacco. That way it comes from my care. What I put into it is, so when I gift it to an elder, or I use it for trade, or I use it for ceremony, it has nothing but gratitude and ceremony in with it. I know that the hands that touched it honored it. And I do the same. It's so hard to grow sweetgrass here, but I have tried. But I grow my sage, I gather my own cedar, and I grow Sema. And then Sweetgrass I usually trade for, or I'll get it at the tribe, because I know it's been handed down with loving ceremonial hands. So I'd really like to know your thoughts on that passage. Okay, I want to continue on this passage on page 30. Let's see. And hopefully you read through this and it will help explain it a whole lot more. What I mean, of course, is that our human relationship with strawberries is transformed by our choice of perspective. It is human perception that makes the world a gift. When we view the world this way, strawberries and humans alike are transformed. The relationship of gratitude and reciprocity thus developed can increase the evolutionary fitness of both plant and animal. A species and a culture that treat the natural world with respect and reciprocity will surely pass on genes to ensuring generations with a higher frequency than the people who destroy it. The stories we choose to shape our behaviors have adaptive consequences. How in our modern world can we find our way to understand the earth as a gift again, to make our relations with the world sacred again? I know we cannot all become hunter-gatherers. The living world could not bear our weight. But even in a market economy, can we behave as if the living world were a gift? Okay, I want to read just one more passage today. In those childhood fields, waiting for strawberries to ripen, I used to eat the sour white ones, sometimes out of hunger, but mostly from impatience. I knew the long-term results of my short-term greed, but I took them anyway. Fortunately, our capacity for self-restraint grows and develops just like the berries beneath the leaves, so I learned to wait. A little. I remember lying on my back in the fields watching the clouds go by and rolling over to check the berries every few minutes. When I was young, I thought the change might happen that fast. Now I am old and I know that transformation is slow. The commodity economy has been here on Turtle Island for 400 years, eating up the white strawberries and everything else. But people have grown weary of the sour taste in their mouths. A great longing is upon us to live again in a world made of gifts. I can sense it's coming, like the fragrance of ripening strawberries rising on the breeze. Oh, that gave me chills. That gives me chills every time I read it. I would really love to know your thoughts on that last passage. A great longing is upon us to live again in a world made of gifts. I can sense it coming, like the fragrance of ripening strawberries on the breeze. Ooh, that's pretty deep, don't you think? So that was a really good chapter on gift giving, and again, why we don't charge for our medicine and why we shouldn't charge for our medicine. I understand there's this debate going on now that kind of have some natives upset. I kind of am one of them. When it comes to our medicine, it shouldn't be sold, but there's a lot of natives that do. Their excuse is, well, they're working to harvest this medicine, so they should get paid for it. And they have bills to pay and that sort of thing as well. I totally get that. However, and I know that trade doesn't, keep the lights on or anything, but there has to be some kind of balance. And our medicine shouldn't be used as one of those tools to bargain with, if that makes sense. There's other things and toils that you can use to sell or to barter to pay your bills, if that makes sense. Like I can grow my own Sema, my own tobacco, and I can harvest my own cedar, and I grow my own sage, and I can use that to trade for sweetgrass. And there's no money It's just loving hands doing it all in ceremony. It doesn't need to be sold. So yeah, when I see some natives selling our medicine, I do get a little bit sad, I guess is the word. When I see non-native people selling our medicine, I feel hurt. I feel invisible. I feel like a commodity and disrespected. So to protect my own joy, I try to stay away from that. If I see non-native selling, like you see smudge sticks all over the place now. And when I see those, I just do my best to ignore them. You can't interact. So that's on them. I can only be in charge of me, you know? So I'd like to know your thoughts on that, and if you've had any discussions with the selling of medicine, or if you have experience like Robin Wall Kimmerer did with the wild strawberries, and how she learned how it was a lesson in gift giving and honoring the earth and honoring each other. I think that's what it comes down to, is honoring each other, being that light for each other, the connection. I really think that's what like if I had to explain gift giving or the sacredness of medicine in one word, it would be connection. And that's just for me, my experience. I would love to hear all of your experiences, so please drop some comments and let's discuss. I really want to know what you think of this book. It is still like, when I think I couldn't love it anymore, I love it some more. It's that good. Now the cat is finally asleep on my lap, and I think we're done for the day. You know, when I first started this series, I thought that we could get by doing like maybe 2 or 3 chapters a session. And then as I got into it, I was more like, okay, maybe 2. Now that we're into it on our 4th session, I really think 1 chapter a session is good. So we're gonna have quite a few sessions. I wanna discuss it because it's so deep, but I also think we need that time to kind of let it sift through and think about it so that then we can talk about it. So let's just do 1 chapter at a time and we'll go from there, you know? Let me know what you think. I hope you had a great time. Again, like I always do, I had a great time and I got chills several times, but I didn't cry this time. How's that? That was some good production right there. So no crying, but we also had the cat for comfort. Okay, thanks for everything. Thanks for your support. I also want to end this. If you know of an Indigenous author that is just up and coming, like they're unknown yet, please send them my way. I would love to review their book and spotlight it and leave them a review. So drop their name in the comments, or you can message me, and let's go from there. I hope you have a wonderful day. Mino Gizget. Bama P. For every Indigenous Author Monday video that I put out, I am dedicating it to the One Shelf Project put on by Gadakana. Gadakana is an Indigenous organization, a 501c3 nonprofit, tax-deductible organization that provides books in their local libraries that are actually accurate, historically accurate, and by Indigenous authors, both fiction and nonfiction. And their goal is to at least have a shelf dedicated to Indigenous accurate information in their local libraries. They can only do this with help through donors, and they need your help. I will put the link down here, so please check them out. The One Shelf Project, another organization near and dear to my heart. Gadakana.